All right, everybody, welcome back to Polymax Particles. We are very happy today to bring in one of our favorite guys. We're so happy he is back on the Bay Area airwaves, so to speak. Technically speaking, I'm not sure if these would be considered airwaves, but let's just say in the broadcasting realm, he's our good friend, Tom Tolbert. He is back on the mic.
Yeah, Tommy.
He launched his brand new show on YouTube. We're neighbors in the YouTube community now, Tom. And, dude, I got to tell you, it's great to see you. It was great to hear you today. And welcome back to the mic, bro. How's everything been going, Tom?
Good. I've just noticed, too, we all, I don't know, we didn't set it up. We all have Niner helmets.
True story.
Oh, that's true.
He's got the old one.
I got retro.
Like the John Brody one.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Mine's way in the back. You can barely see it. It's right next to the Michael Myers mask.
Yeah,
badass. Sitting up there. And then Tony's got his right there, along with a football that obviously wasn't earned, that was given to him by somebody with the Niners. It says Ryan on it.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
That's 100%. Right. That was when they gave us the tour of the stadium way back before the stadium opened. They gave us footballs with our names on them. It was pretty funny. And that thing was lying around the house. I'm like, I can put this thing to some use. And Paulie, I think you have one in the background too.
I do. Yeah, no, that was definitely same day, same tour, same
there
day.
It is.
Same football. Yeah, it's behind me on that side. Yeah, I got the McCaffrey ball. Yeah, I know. Was Tom there that day? Where was Tom? Maybe
he might have been on the air. He might have been on the air.
Yeah, you
might
probably
have been doing
were.
Your show.
Yeah, this is like when they first opened Levi's Stadium. I remember Sarge set up a tour where I was down there with Murph. And what I remember, Tony, is we ended the morning show and basically got in our cars and drove right down there. So it started right after the show. And probably that's why, Tom, you probably had to stay back to do your show. But that was the end result of the day. We all got our own personalized footballs. You know what I mean?
Well, except for me.
Yeah, that was the token.
Tom, is it too hokey? Did you do a what's shaking? Or can we ask you for a what's shaking? Or come on.
I think I did. Didn't I do a what's shaking? I think I did a what's shaking. I think I did that start show. I'm not sure. That's a great question. I don't remember what the hell I did. I was just concerned with like, okay, how am I gonna? Do I have enough to talk about for an hour? And it ended up being an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. The one thing that I do that not a lot of people do, and I'm not even sure if it's a good thing or not, is I digress a lot.
Yeah.
Like I start on a topic and then I end over here, and I have to figure out a way back to where I was starting to finish this story that I was trying to tell. So I take a lot of detours, and that happened today a number of times. So it ended up, there's some things that I'll go back and I'll look at and go, I wish I would have hit that, wish I would have hit that, wish I would have hit that. But yeah, it was just fun to get on, and you're not really conversing with people yet because we don't have the chat set up, and at some point we will. So you feel like you're just sitting in here, it's like a hostage video, and you're just sitting in here. You got a camera on you and lights are on you, right? And you just got to say, look, look, I'm serious. Iran's number one. I'm not. They're not paying me to say this. I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's weird to do it when you're just sitting in here by yourself. But no, it's fun. And we'll get more and more used to it, get a rhythm to it. You guys have already started, so I'm sure you kind of understand, okay, this feels a little bit different now than it did the first couple of shows. But it was fun though. I did have a good time.
Tom, I think one of your first digressions was serial killers, and that your generation had the best serial killers. And I was like, dude.
Look, there's not even a question like that. No one can ever debate that my generation. I don't even know if that's quite my generation. I was a little young. I was 7 and 17, but no one can debate. That is the best. That's the golden era of serial killers.
Yes, dude, the Night Stalker, man. The Night Stalker got me.
You got Bundy,
you got Night Stalker. You got Gacy.
Yeah.
You got Dahmer. You have the Hillside Stranglers. You have the Boston Strangler.
Yep.
I mean, you have the Zodiac Killer.
Son of Sam. Don't forget Son of Sam.
Son of Sam. I mean, you have, like I said, you just got Hall of Famers hand over fist. I mean, if they had an arena for serial killers, there'd be banners up all over the place. But you can't do it anymore. Too many cell phones.
That's a great call. Well, we have the same problem, Tom. What happens is we digress. Usually it's about some concert or some movie or something, and then sometimes I have a hard time finding my way back to the original point. So thank God I have Tony here to keep the wheels on to remind me. Paulie, we were talking about the Giants or whatever the case might be, because I do the same thing, Tom. And for your new show, your new endeavor, tell the audience, like, what's the schedule for your new show? Are you at noon every day now?
That's a great question. I think it'll be noon, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but I think Monday is going to end up moving back probably to about 3:30, because I've been playing golf with a buddy of mine. I'm trying to play on Mondays. We play Mondays around 10:30.
Nice.
So we may do a 4:00 Monday, which will work better, because then I'd be happy hour. People can grab a beer.
Yeah.
Look, not that I'm saying, look, if you want a day drink, go ahead and knock yourself out. I'll be there right. I'll be right with you. But noon seemed a little aggressive, except for a Friday. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be here every noon cracking a beer open and be like, oh my God, somebody get an intervention going for Tolbert. He's wearing himself out over there. But I'm thinking a little later on Mondays, noon on Wednesday, noon on Friday. But again, that's the beauty of this thing. We can switch it up. We can move it. If we got something going on, then we can move it to a little sooner. We can move it to a little later. But like, I would say everything is TBA right now.
Yeah.
Or tentative. Like, everything's kind of where we think it's going to be, but we're not sure where it's going to end up in a month.
That's totally reasonable, man. We basically did the same kind of approach, right, Tony? Like, we wanted to figure out what was good for us, what was good for the audience, and you'll settle in. You'll feel and find what's right. And as you mentioned, Tom, you know what's really cool? Once you get the comments kind of aspect of your show happening, it starts to feel like a real show again, because you'll see all the listeners there. They all start having their own conversations independent of what we're talking about, and it starts to feel like a kind of an interactive show at that point. So you'll dig that a lot. And so Tom, I heard you today, just a couple quick sports things while we have you. I heard you today talking about the Four Nations face-off, the USA Canada stuff. How great was that? How great it was for hockey, all these new eyes on the sport. So what I want to ask you, man, is all this talk last week about how the NHL really maximized that opportunity. They said, look, we got an all-star break. Let's get as many eyes on this with the best competition we can have. And those guys were playing, dude. They were selling out. They were getting after it. Like you said, Canada's not kidding around when it comes to hockey. That's their sport. They hate losing to America and vice versa. So they were going to get after it. But the NBA All-Star Game is under fire, man. People are sick of it. They don't like the lack of competition. They're not fond of the whole format. So, Tom, I guess I'd like you to speak to the NBA All-Star Game, where it is now, and should they take a page out of the NHL's book and try to come up with some kind of new format in your mind?
Well, the problem is, how do you do it? Do you do USA versus the world? Because then if it's USA versus the world, why does the world care? I mean, you're not playing for your country. You're playing for the rest of the world, or whatever it may be. So you may get Joker and Giannis on a team, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander on a team. And you get some great players, but they don't have their country across their chest. USA would, but I just don't think – I don't know that there's a way to replicate the Four Nations face-off, because you have enough players that are in the NHL that play in this tournament. Like, if we're going to do the NBA version and we're going to use guys that aren't in the NBA, then now we're in the Olympics. Like, that's what the Olympic does. So we don't need that. But like and they were even missing Russia. Like, Russia would be incredible to have in there. I mean, as soon as they stop bombing people, then maybe they can rejoin. The Four Nations face-off. But look, I mean, Russia was the team. They were the juggernaut. They were the best team in the world forever. And then kind of Canada took over. But still, I'd love to have them in there, just make for better competition. But look, you have the Finns, the Swedes, and they're really good teams that can compete. So basketball doesn't have that. They just don't. I mean, I looked last night because I was like, I wonder, if Yugoslavia was still together. And I mentioned this during the show, like, what kind of team Yugoslavia would have. And it'd start with Joker and Doncic. I go, well, that's a pretty good team. Like, that's a pretty nice team you could have there. But it's not. It's the Serbs and Doncic, Slovenia. So you don't have enough great players from a country that could make it different than the Olympics. And if it's not going to be different than from the Olympics, then why bother? So I I don't know. There is a fix. I think the fix is care a little bit more. Like maybe in the 80s,
yes,
80s and 90s. And I'm not going to sit here and tell everybody, oh, it was great. 80s and 90s, they played it like a playoff game. They didn't. And I've always said this. Play it like you're at the park and the loser leaves the court. That's the type of intensity I'd like to see you play with. If you're not going to play with that type of intensity, then why do we even have – let's just play flag football. Let's play flag basketball. Let's just turn it into that. The problem is – I mean, look, there's so many ways to go with this. But the problem is the Pro Bowl isn't a marquee weekend for football.
No.
It's just the Pro Bowl.
No. Yeah.
Super Bowl is the marquee weekend.
Right.
NBA All-Star Game is a marquee weekend for basketball. That is supposed to be a marquee weekend where the best get together. They play the All-Star Game, the three-point shoot, the dunk, all that kind of stuff. But the guys don't care. And if the guys don't care that much, then there's really nothing you can do to fix it. They even cared a little bit more this past All-Star Game, but it was a rinky-dink tournament that nobody knew. You know, they'd play a game, then they'd go to a freaking concert. Then they'd go to a game, and T&T would come back and pat themselves on the back for 30 minutes, telling them how great they were for the last night. Like, it's like, well, what are we doing here? We're just going to play? Are we not playing? I mean, are we splicing the entertainment with the basketball? So I don't know that there's a great answer for it. I do know this, that as much money those guys are making, this is a marquee weekend for the NBA, that they may feel like, hey, this is good for our sport if we actually play hard. It sells our sport a little bit more. Because Adam Silver's been trying, he knows the marquee weekend. He's trying to get them to play harder. He's trying to get them to care a little bit more. But they don't. And he can't make them care. Either you have to, or you try to convince them that, hey, this is not only good for us, it's good for you too. And they've had Hall of Famers say, you know what, you got to play a little harder. You got to, nothing's worked. So I don't know. This format wasn't it though. It just wasn't.
No. Tom, you know what sucks too is that like players like the Jordan era, they loved. It seemed like they genuinely loved doing the dunk contest, and really, like you said, cared. Now it seems like it's such a, and it's not. I don't want to say Mac McClung's a throwaway because he's a good dunker, sure, but think about all the talent in the NBA, and I used to look forward to the dunk contest every year in that era. And now it's like, oh man, it's when you know it's not all the studs in the NBA. I just wonder why they don't care about the dunk contest anymore either, because that seemed like it was a ton of fun.
It's a good question. Yeah.
Oh, Dominique Jordan.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Right.
Yep.
Right.
I love that. And we've gone from that to Max McClung.
Right.
And Max McClung has been better than a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
A lot of them. Like, I'd rather have Max McClung than NBA bench players that aren't even great dunkers, that are, maybe good dunkers, but are okay. But that's not even the point. The point is what we really want to see is guys like Vince Carter.
Dude,
guys
exactly.
who are studs that can dunk. Who would not sign up for a dunk contest featuring Ja Morant?
Oh, bro, that's what we want. Yeah.
Oh, like give us Ja Morant in a damn dunk contest, and like people will be like, "Oh, okay, I'm in for that."
Yeah.
Like even and they weren't stars, but at least they were like recognizable. Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine.
That was a great one.
Yeah.
That was
a great dunk competition.
Yep.
But that was like, okay, we got at least some name players that are willing to go out there and do some incredible dunks.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a really good one. But really, with Dominique and Jordan, you're going back to two of the best players in the game.
Yeah.
And that's what, that's what everyone wants. And that's where you get a chance to sell your sport, right? That's why, go back to the All-Star game that was here at then AT&T. It was like, how hard would it have been for Barry Bonds to go out there and compete in a home run derby? And that sells the game. He just didn't care. Because guys care more about the parties now, All-Star weekends and stuff. They just want to go to the parties. And the NBA and baseball probably need to cut back on asking them to do all the corporate stuff they have to do and say, look, we're not going to ask you to do as much.
Right.
But meet us halfway.
Like in exchange,
sell our sport a little bit if you can. Like, people know who you are. So I just want to see name guys that can dunk like a John Morant, get out there and do some stuff. But again,
it'd be epic.
If you're not going to care that much, then whatever. It's why I don't really pay attention to it. It's on.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I need to closely pay attention to it. It's like, whatever.
100%. We're the same way over here now. And it's the same thing. The Levine Gordon one you mentioned, Tom, that to me, that was like the last great one. I remember watching that with my son. We were both excited. And every year it's kind of cooled down a little bit. A couple more questions for Tom, and then we'll let him get out of here today. Tom, for us here in the Bay Area, we're up close and personal with Andre Iguodala. We got to watch him play. We got to watch him win his titles, get that MVP in the finals. But for people outside the Bay Area, I think they're looking at his stats and they're going, wait a sec. So this guy, yes, he won a bunch of rings. Yes, he was a great defensive player. Yeah, he got that finals MVP, but his numbers are not indicative of a guy who would normally have his jersey in the rafters. So how would you explain that, Tom, just in a basketball sense, to people beyond the Bay Area who don't really understand why that jersey went up yesterday?
I'll tell them to shut up.
Nice.
Nice. All right.
No, I tell them that, and I touched on it during the podcast, is that it was a seminal moment in Warrior history when he came here, because players of his stature did not want to come here before that, right? They wanted to go elsewhere. They came here for more money, or no one else wanted them, and they came to play for the Warriors. But he saw what was going on with Clay and Steph, and thought, okay, I want to be a part of that, and this team could go places. And he was an integral part of that. Was he, like, Steph was the most important piece when they drafted him, but trading for Bogut was a huge piece. Getting Andre Andre wanting to come here and being able to figure that trade out was a huge piece of it. And, he averaged, I think 9.3 points per game was the most he averaged in any 1 year with the Warriors.
Right.
He never averaged double digits, ever.
Wow.
Which is incredible to think.
That's crazy.
You look at some of the numbers of the guys who do have their numbers retired for the Warriors.
Right.
Barry, Mully, Sherry, like Al, I think, is up there. But you look at those guys, and Al, I think Al's up there for the championship and being basically Mr. Warrior. But Masheri averaged definitely more than 10. But you're thinking, how does a guy get his number retired? Like, I bet you if you went around the league and saw all the numbers that were retired, I bet you 95%, if not 99% of those guys averaged 10 points at least 1 year.
At least.
Yeah. Right? At least 1 year.
Yeah.
He didn't. But he meant so much to that team in terms of what he did defensively, what he did offensively. And you have to... I kind of hate saying this because I make it sound like, even though I do know more basketball than most people that are going to be listening to me or watching me, but it sounds like an arrogant look. You don't know what you're looking at. I know what I'm looking at. There are instances where you got to pay close attention to find the value in some of these players.
Nice.
And it's what they do off the ball. It's what they do as leaders on the bench. It's what they do defensively when they're not guarding the ball, even though he usually guarded the best wing player. He was just a step or two ahead of the game, like Draymond, and he tied a lot of that stuff together. With Steph and Clay, who have been known to do some crazy stuff on a basketball court, like, some of the passes and some of the shots where you're just like, oh, my God, what are these guys doing? And look, a lot more times than not it worked out, but a lot of times it didn't. And Andre was the guy to calm everything down. Steve always said he was the adult in the room. He could organize everything and get everything set up and just, okay, look, let's everybody take a deep breath here. Let's get back to playing the right way, the way we know how to play. And it's so funny because his numbers do not suggest he deserves a number up in the rafters at Chase Center. But when I think of Andre, I thought to myself, there's no doubt he's going to be in the rafters at Chase Center. And this is before I looked up the numbers and saw the number. I just go, he's going to be there because of how important he was to the team. It's not all numbers. Right. I know it's easy to look at and it's easy for sports fans to digest, but there's so much more to the games in all sports than the numbers tell you. And Andre was like one of the more perfect examples of your importance not being tied to those numbers.
Well
Hey
said.
Tom, I'm not saying that it's easy to replicate what Iguodala did for the Dubs, but is there anybody on this year's squad that comes close to adding that type of vibe to the team?
Good question.
Well, I think I mentioned this, but I think Butler plays somewhat similar. Like, here's what Jimmy has in common with Andre. Like, Jimmy's a much better offensive player than Andre. Like, Jimmy's just like better in terms of the numbers. Like, he's going to get you more raw numbers. But Butler also understands the game. Like, he thinks the game. He's ahead of the game. Like, he gets how to play basketball. It's a term I use frequently, and every time I use it, I always have to explain it, because when I say someone knows how to play basketball, people always say, well, doesn't everybody know how to play basketball? I go, yeah, I mean, they do, obviously, because they're in the NBA. But what I mean by knowing how to play basketball is if things get disorganized, if the play doesn't work the way you want it to work, or if somebody's out of place defensively, you know how to make it work. You still can make it work because you instinctively understand the game. You just, okay, I get this. It'd be like, you know what, to use a football analogy, if you're supposed to run like a slant route, and you're supposed to get to like 8 yards, cut in, and you're supposed to be open after 5 yards, but you realize after 5 yards, a linebacker is going to be sitting there. So let me stop in the hole here because this is where the open spot is. Like, you just kind of feel stuff like, okay, this is where I need to be. Right. Basketball the same way. Like basketball, I should be here, but that's not the way the play is going. I need to be here, or I need to cut to make sure this guy can get there, or defensively, he's not in the right spot, so I need to cover for him and let him know as I'm doing it, hey, drop down, do this, do that. Like, he gets all that stuff. Nice. He just understands like how I make it work, even though it's not supposed to work this way. It got screwed up, but we're going to make it work this way. He understands that. Like, he gets those things. So I would say Andre was a master at those things, but Jimmy gets those things too, which is great for the Warriors because they need everybody needs more players like that. I know Steve likes more sane basketball players on the court that don't turn the ball over and can just play the game like the right way. Right. And I know he thinks Butler can do that. So it's going to be interesting to see, in 2 weeks what they look like, because they got a lot of road games coming up, but so far so good.
How high do you think they can elevate? Sorry, Paulie. How high do you think they can go in the standings, Tom? I'm
thinking it's 6, maybe.
Nice.
Maybe 5.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, you know what? Things are going to have to break their way. They're going to have to stay healthy. I mean, you're going to get Kuminga back here pretty soon. So, but, I think Jimmy Butler brings a certain something to the team that they just didn't have.
Yeah.
And the one problem is they have all the tiebreakers against the teams that aren't going to matter. They have the tiebreaker against the Thunder, ain't going to matter.
That's
tiebreaker
true.
Against Memphis, ain't going to matter.
Yeah.
Tiebreaker against Houston, ain't going to matter. The only team they have the tiebreaker against that it might matter is Minnesota. Because as of right now, Phoenix, who they're ahead of, they've lost the tiebreaker too. I think they might be tied with Sacramento, but I think like some third tiebreaker, they might lose that one. The Lakers, they've lost that one. The Clippers, they've lost that one. I'm not sure where the Nuggets are. The Mavericks are 2-2 now, and I'm not sure where the third tiebreaker on that one is. But, look, I don't even worry about that type of stuff. Just continue to get better, continue to play good ball, and see where it takes you. I think they can beat some teams, but it's going to be tough. They dug themselves a little bit of a hole early on, but they're playing good ball right now, and that's all that matters.
No, big time. And I'd say last thing for Tom today, I want to remind everybody watching this, check out Tom's brand new show, the Tom Tolbert Show. You can check it out on YouTube on a daily basis. We're all really happy to have Tom back on the mic. There was a big hole in the Bay Area, and Tom is back. So that's
no question.
News. But Tom, so last thing on this whole Butler thing, I feel like, especially yesterday, Tom, watching that game, I felt like it was the first time for me in a while where I felt like I could see the swagger kind of come back, and there was some joy out there, especially when Quentin Post had that big slam in the fourth quarter, and he was he was screaming, Draymond was screaming, and then like Steph Curry was on the kind of outside of that, but he was pointing at post and laughing, and I'm like, damn, that kind of joy and swagger on the court, I feel like has been missing from the Dubs for a while now. So that's just a great element to see back on the floor. And all the stuff being considered, we just talked about, Tom, like, what do you think a realistic kind of run would be for this team? Because Draymond said championship during the All-Star break, and I like that he did that. Like, let the young guys hear that. But realistically, Tom, like, how far do you think this team potentially could go this year?
You know, I don't know. They could lose in the first round. They could lose in a play-in. I don't think they're championship worthy. But who knows? I mean, you know, it's hard to go against Steph and Draymond. And look, I would expect Draymond to say something like that. And guarantees, I just never paid any attention to guarantees because what's going to happen is we're going to watch it unfold, right? Yep. It's not a prediction. It's not like a who's better, LeBron or Michael, or who's better, Joe or Brady, or who's better. It's like things you can argue about, but you can't possibly get to a resolution. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. Guess what? We are going to get a resolution here. We're going to find out whether they win a championship or not. And I would submit that everybody who's on a team that could get to the playoffs, they should think their team has a chance to win a championship. Because if not, what are you doing? Like, why are you going to go into a playoff series going, we can't win this one? Maybe we can win a series, but we can't win the second one. Well, nobody's thinking that way. Yeah. I mean, from the outside, we can all look at it that way. But if you're on a team, and especially on a team that's won multiple championships, like he knows what it's like to win. He knows what it takes to win. So, yeah, I would expect that he would believe they could do it. Do I believe they can do it? No, not yet. I mean, I could change my mind in 2 weeks. But here's the beauty. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what Draymond thinks. It's all going to unfold. Yeah. We have the playoffs. They're going to be in the playoffs. We're going to find out whether they're going to win a championship or not. I think a lot would have to go right for them. Yeah. I think the matchups would be interesting because, like I've said, they're going to struggle against the more athletic teams, the longer teams, the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Thunder. But I mean, look, everybody struggles against the Thunder. Thunder is a damn good basketball team. So, but I can't wait. It's going to be fun. I think the Western Conference is going to be, just wild. I can't wait to see how the Lakers are going to do with Luka. Let's see when AD and the rest of the centers come back for Dallas. Let's see how they do. I'm still not counting out Denver, although the Lakers whipped their ass pretty good this past weekend. They did. So we'll see. I don't know if Denver has enough of a bench, but who knows? I mean, I think, and I said it on the show. To me, right now, it's Thunder, Cavs, Celtics, and then after that, I don't know. Like, I don't foresee anybody else winning other than those three teams. Could change my mind come playoff teams. Somebody could come up and go, hey, wow, they've won 13 in a row. They've been looking great. But as of now, those are the three teams I think have a chance to win a championship.
Hey, Tom, what's safe to say too, though, and I have a couple more quickies for you too, but what's safe to say too is that I think the Bay Area or the Dub Nation is way more excited since Butler has come to the team. And I personally, I'm very excited for the home stretch and then to see what they can do in the playoffs. Way more excited than I was pre-Butler. So I'm so glad they made that move. And I was worried about him fitting in. I really was. And so far so good. I mean, it's only been 6 games, but like I'm still excited to see way more than before. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Warriors just wanted to see Warrior fans wanted to see the Warriors do something.
Yeah.
Give us some optimism, give us some hope. And I mean, look, I've always liked Jimmy Butler's game, but let's not forget, like he got his way out of Miami, he got his way out of Minnesota, he got his way out of Chicago. So it's not like he's parted amicably with any of these organizations. Like he's basically, see, I'm out of here. When Jimmy wants out, that's when things go sour. I wouldn't expect it to happen right away. Yeah, but, I mean, it could happen next year after. Who knows? But as of now, look, he's happy, and I think the Warriors are looking at this like, okay, we got a couple more years. Yep. Steph's contract will be up. Steve's contract will be up. Yeah. Raymond's contract will be up. Yep. And Butler's contract's going to be up. And like, okay, let's just give it a shot and give it everything we have and not blow up the future, which they really didn't do.
Right.
In essence, it was, Wiggins for Butler. Kuminga was a guy you kept. Moody, you kept. Moody's been playing great. Moody's been really good for them lately. So, you give up Schroeder, a guy you had for like 30 games, and you give up Wiggins, who, look, you wouldn't have won a championship in 2022 without Wiggins, but Butler's better than Wiggins. He's better. So, you roll the dice, like hey, let's go. Yeah. While we got Steph, let's give ourselves a shot. And this isn't just about this year. This is about next year too. Even though Butler, Draymond, and Steph will all be a year older. I guess I suppose we're all going to be a year older as of next year.
That'd be all of us. Yeah, man.
It's not exclusive to them. They're just the ones that it's more important for the Warriors' future. Like, how are they going to play next year? Those are the guys. So, but I like it. You have a generational player.
Yeah.
Let's try to give him and the Warriors the best shot to win a championship while Steph's still viable.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Tommy.
Ahead, Tom.
I just want to tip the cap to, and I think you mentioned him during your show today, Randy Bennett and the Gales.
Yes.
Yeah. And talk some WCC hoops, because I went to St. Mary's and USF, so I root for both, but I love what Bennett's done. Obviously, I know you guys are buds, and he used to come on with Ralph and Tom all the time. And I love that he's stayed in Moraga. Yep. I'm sure he's gotten offer after offer after offer to leave, but he's built something special there in Moraga. And the fact that he's done, I love it so much. And then I love seeing the Dons doing well too.
Me too. Great.
And those three teams, Dons, Gales, and Gonzaga, and the Dons have the tilt Saturday against Gonzaga.
Chase Center.
That's right. And I just wondered, who do you think of those three? St. Mary's, would you say, is the top of those three, or do you still give to Gonzaga?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, you got to say St. Mary's. They beat them twice.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. They're going to win their second WCC title.
Love it.
Like I think Gonzaga is good this year, but not really. They're not a vintage Gonzaga team. They're just not. They don't have the horses that they once had. I mean, you're talking about a team that has had Suggs was a top 5 pick, and I'm blanking on his name. I don't know why I can't think of his name. The center for the Thunder.
Holmgren, Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, Holmgren, who just came back. He was the number 2 overall pick. Yeah. So I mean, they had horses for a good stretch, and I'm not even sure. Boy, if they have an NBA guy, I'm not sure their center. I'm not sure if he's an NBA guy.
Right.
Nemhard, the transfer, I think he came from Creighton. He's the other Nemhard's brother that came over and played. I don't know if he's an NBA guy, Ajayi. I don't know if they just don't have the same type of guys that they'd had before. They're still really good, and Few's a really good coach. But yeah, Bennett has the consistency, and I love the fact that my former teammate Sharunas' son is playing for Randy, the point guard, Marshall.
Yeah, man.
Is Sharunas in town? Does he live in the Bay? Do they live in the Bay?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't believe he does.
Yeah.
I know he visited Raleigh not too long ago, but I'm trying to think of the guys' names. I'm looking them up right now, but they lost 2 guys last year. St. Mary's. They lost. Jefferson,
they got the guy who transferred to
State.
Yeah,
and then they lost a guy that went to UConn.
To UConn, the local kid from he's from the area. Why am I blanking? I'm blanking on his name too.
I know. I'm trying to look up a UConn game right now to see if I can figure out. I think
Mahaney.
Thank you. Yeah, and he was really good here. And I thought, God, he's going to UConn. I know he got. From what I heard, he got a decent amount of money to go to UConn. But here's what Mahaney is doing with UConn. He is averaging 12.8 minutes a game, 4.6 points, 1.4 assists, and 0.8 rebounds. So, to me, sometimes you got to say, I may be getting more money someplace, but I'm going to grow as a player someplace else. I think Jefferson's actually having a nice year for Iowa State. He's playing well for them. So obviously, he made the right move. I'm not saying Mahaney didn't for him. Maybe he did, but you could just see him getting swallowed up by UConn, and that's what happened. He'd still be a guy here.
Oh, he's a stud here.
But that's the beautiful thing about the program that Randy Bennett's built. It started off as just kind of like, okay, Patty Mills, Dellavedova, Sam Han, they had McConnell there. And it was just, God, are they going to be able to, those are like 2 NBA guards that he had. Like, are they going to be able to survive after they leave?
Right.
And it has every year, whether they have
Amazing.
NBA guys or not.
Yep.
He just continues on.
He creates that scenario.
And it's even harder now with the NIL because, they have an NIL, but it's not like, they can compete. Obviously, they're not going to compete with UConn. If UConn wants to come snatch one of their players, then they're going to grab one of their players. But, I mean, I just love watching them play. Like the big fella Saxon in the middle.
Yeah.
And Marshallonis out there. And, I mean, I can picture some of their players. I can't think of their names, all of them, but they're just fun. They're a team. They're a program. And the fact that, as you stated, Randy has stayed, I think he looks at it as quality of life. Like, hey, you know what? They've taken care of me here.
Yeah.
He probably really likes the AD, chancellor, president, whatever. They probably have the same vision for the team. They probably allow him a certain amount of freedom to do what he's doing. He probably loves the area he lives here in the Bay. And sometimes instead of taking that stepping stone to say, you know what, I really got to challenge myself here, or I want to make more money, or I want to play in a bigger conference, you just say, you know what, I like it here. I make enough money. I have a great program. I like the friends I have. I like the area I have. I'm going to stay here. Yeah. I've always appreciated that about Randy, and I've always rooted for him outside of Arizona, my favorite team in college basketball. So I was pumped. I sent him a text. It may have been explicit or not. I'm not sure. But I sent him a text after they beat Gonzaga on Friday or Saturday night. I was pumped up for him.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, it's a great time for WCC hoop too. Yeah.
This is a totally insider thing, but Randy Bennett has always reminded me of our former program director, Bob Agnew, physically.
Bob Agnew.
They look like each other. I feel like they look
Bob
like
Agnew yelling at Ralph.
Dude. Bob Agnew yelling at everybody. Yeah, Tom, since you're a hockey fan too, you know who my call on Agnew was? The guy that always reminded me of Bob Agnew was Scotty Bowman. Remember Scotty Bowman?
The Detroit Red Wings, yeah,
almost a similar kind of look too. Fiery little fire plug kind of thing.
Fiery, had the thinning hair that was slicked back, the thinning hair. Yeah,
the three strands.
Good look from Bob.
Tom, you brought up Ralph. We were talking about this earlier today because Murph joined us earlier today. And I was talking about how trying to get Ralph to go to break was one of the greater challenges of my career in radio.
Hey.
And you sat alongside him and you tried to get him to break. And then it was like he just went and
nothing
went
doing.
Went.
Yeah. No.
It's like trying to get Lou to not bark.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ain't gonna happen. Yeah.
Wish she repeatedly did. I'm going to try to make her part of the show, but if she can't behave herself a little bit, then I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen.
Well, listen, we just want
in here.
Tom,
I got to find. Yeah, I got one final thing for Tom. Tom, are you going to the Dominican Republic to see Tool for 3 nights with Primus?
Dude, somebody hit me up on Twitter, and they said, "Are you going to see Tool in the sand?" Yeah. I guess they're playing on a beach somewhere.
That's it.
And wow, they're playing Primus. How about that? That's crazy. Right. Yeah, and I said, no, I'm not going to the DR to go see Tool, but that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty sweet to be on the beach in the sand seeing Tool. If I was going to pay copious amounts of money to go see a concert, that would probably be it.
Yeah,
that would be it. A nice, probably down there, Pacifico. On the sand, seeing a little prison sex, and that's one of their songs, by the way. Okay,
I got you, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Tom, isn't Lori part of the Kiss Army?
Yeah, she was. I think she was. She joined the Kiss Army when she was younger, not knowing exactly what the Kiss Army entailed, and
love it.
I think it was at an age where she didn't know what Love Gun was.
Yeah,
and look, I was I was at the same age. I didn't know. I had no idea.
No.
How how disturbing Christine 16 was until I read the lyrics.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, Gene.
I know, don't.
Geez, really 16?
As
Young and
lecherous as it
clean?
gets.
Like, come on, Gene. I mean, come on. That's
Come on.
ridiculous.
Tom, he's
I
waiting.
know it's the 70s, but still, I mean,
Dude,
there are boundaries here.
Dude,
Yeah.
the lyric is like, when I saw you coming out of school that day.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, Gene, whoa, baby, whoa.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I know a lot's changed, but still. I mean, even in the 70s, you shouldn't have 40-year-olds waiting outside of school for a 15, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. We don't condone it.
No.
We don't condone it on this show or Tom's show. And by the way, that's why we're doing this. Tom Tolbert is back, everybody. Want to thank you for your time today, Tom. Great chat with you, buddy. And everybody check out the Tom Tolbert show. You'll see it on a daily basis, and you're going to learn this, Tom, over time. It's like the beauty of this format on YouTube is people consume the show whenever they want. Like you might post a show at noon, and then you'll see those numbers really spike later in the afternoon because people pull it down and listen on their commute and stuff. So it's great, man. And I'll say good luck. Enjoy yourselves. We'll be talking as we go down the road together. But for now, Tom, just great to see you, brother. And good luck with everything, man. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, Tom.
Thanks,
thank you,
boys.
man.
Can't wait. Yeah, Tony.
Hey, Tom.
I can't wait. Yeah.
Tell Tim Roy and RC Davis hello for us too, huh?
I always do. I go every time I do a show. I go, Tony says hi.
Those guys are the best. Those are the best.
They're the best, man. I love working.
Love
working with them. It's just so much fun doing games. So I would definitely say that you said hi.
Yeah, they're the best, man. Thanks, Tom.
See you later,
boys.
Tommy.
Have a good one.
You too, brother. Tom Tolbert, everybody, right here on Polymax Particles. Great talking to Tom. So happy his show is back. Creative Tony, I think we've given all that we can give today. We're serving up hot. And I got to tell you, just between you and me, great to see and hear Tom. Just great to see and hear him.
I could go another hour with Tom.
I know. Bro, I almost, if I had like a cattle prod, I would have zapped your ass a few times there because I was trying to let Tom go for like 15 minutes. You're like, oh, Tom, one more thing. Oh, Tom, one more thing. Oh, Tom, one more thing. I was like, dude.
I did work with Tom for a long time, so I know when he's uncomfortable or when he's not, or when he's comfortable. And he was very comfortable and just chilling. So this is the best.
All due respect. All due respect to Creative T and Tommy T. Those are the T brothers over there. But no, I know. But still, I kept saying like, because tell the audience what we said before we went live with Tom. We're like, hey, Tom, we'll do like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe tops. Now we're like dipping around 40. And Tony's like, oh, yeah, one more thing. Are you going to Tool? I'm like, dude, he's never going to come back. He's never going to come back. But anyway, no, kidding aside, dude, it was great to see you, Tom. Last thing, just like hearing Tom talk basketball might be my favorite thing.
Oh, dude.
Because when he started talking about Butler and like dropping on assignment and like moving positions and while you're switching, telling the other guy, hey, you got to drop back because I'm here in LA. All that kind of X's and O stuff. Tom's feel for the game. It's great. And I'm so glad we have that back, T. So, yeah.
You can't get that kind of analysis anyway. I mean, it's when you've played the game as long as he sees that kind of stuff. Like I don't see that kind of stuff, and he's talking about like being like anticipating certain
ahead
parts
of the game. Yeah, like being ahead of the game. Yeah,
seeing it unfold before it unfolds, and
like Draymond.
Wild. Yeah,
and now that the Warriors, and because he was singing the praises of Jimmy Butler having such a great basketball IQ, which he does. Yeah. But Tony, now, dude, think about the thinkers on this team. Shout out to Rodin's The Thinker, Tony. Can I drop a pose? Yeah. You know what I mean? The Thinker.
Nice, dude.
But
nice.
Yeah, shout out Rodin, my favorite sculptor, maybe the only sculptor I know. So I'll throw it out
That's
there.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, as far as I go. Tony,
well, if we're going to talk sculptors, we have to maybe review Patrick Swayze and Ghost. I mean, down the road. I mean,
that right there is exactly why I want to work with you. That's, in fact, on that note, there's nowhere else to go.
Okay.
And you're right. Don't sleep on Swayze's pottery, dude. Don't sleep on it. Not only, dude, he's sculpting, he's making out with Demi Moore. You know what? Right. He had all the answers. God bless you. Patrick Swayze, I hope you're doing great up there in heaven. Say what's up to Bill Walton and Jerry Garcia for me. They're a couple of good guys you can hang with if you're looking for some new crew up there. God, that was a great time today, Tony. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see all of y'all. Tony, I'm going to go ahead and say tomorrow night because it'll be night flight time.
Tomorrow night.
Take to the skies and we'll do a little night flighting. And Jimmy Dillon joins us. We're going to talk about my gig. It's not my gig. It's his gig at Sweetwater. I'll simply be stopping by and sitting in. Think we're going to give away a pair of tickets. Working on that as well.
That'd be great.
Creative Tony, final thoughts. Yes.
We got Dubs tonight, Dubs Charlotte. So sit back, relax, watch some Dubs Hornets, and then we'll be back Wednesday night flight. Super pumped to review some more Dubs Butler. The Butler era continues, P.
Hey, Tony, can I break your balls real quick on the way out?
Yes, break 'em.
Okay. So before we go, and if you want to sound the outro music, it's totally up to you. Class dismissed. It's entirely in your hands. But as you're getting those elements ready, I just wanted to make sure. Do you have any final questions for Tom Tolbert before we go?
Just a couple more quickies, Tom.
Exactly. Hey, Tom, a couple more things. I know you've just been on the air for 5 hours. Let me ask you 10 more things.
Not 5 hours. He was on the air.
I know.
And by the way, we didn't keep him as long as John Lund kept him. I think Lund was pushing over an hour.
Dude, you want to know who's keeping? You want to go on someone's show? Who's going to be keeping you? Don't make any fucking plans the whole night. Shout out Larry Krueger, bro. Totally. Krueger drops anchor. You ain't going nowhere, dude. It's like a Patty Hearst hostage situation. You ain't going nowhere, Larry. I'm kidding. I freaking love you, dude. I love Larry.
Of course, we love Larry.
Are we dismissing or are we just bailing out today?
I'm going to dismiss the class right now.
Class dismissed. Damn it! I love that T. I freaking love that. Does that have an effect on you? That like fires me up every time I hear that. Class dismissed.
It's the only way it's supposed to be dismissed.
What do you think the teacher's going to look like this year?
I would say it's the greatest rock video ever made, personally, in my opinion.
Sit down, Waldo. You know what I mean?
Sit down, Waldo. And dude, the cinematography of Eddie Van Halen walking on the library table that never ends during the guitar solo.
Tony's on fire, dude. No, I don't think I want the show to end. You're giving me your best stuff right now. You're coming at me with Waldo takes. Eddie Van Halen walking on the tables, riffing. I know exactly what you're talking about. And he's peeling off leaves like a lunatic, dude, while he's walking. It's
outrageous. But how about the kids are in the car, the kid versions of Van Halen in the convertible? I mean, it's incredible.
I remember this. Last thing, final thought of the day, true story. I'm gonna quote the great creative Tony Ryan on the way out, because I remember the first time you saw Van Halen. I had seen him back in the day. So I had one show under my belt. You had seen Dave and Van Halen for the first time. And when they played Hot for Teacher, when that song ended, I'll never forget this. You looked at me and you're like, Paulie, that's one of the heaviest things I've ever seen. Yeah. And I was like, no, I know. Because Van Halen, they weren't messing around, dude, when they hit the stage. They were not messing around. And that music was fast and furious, man.
It was outrageous. I mean, there's no way to it pummeled me. It literally pummeled me.
Creative Tony, someday, I really believe this, and I talked to Rod Brooks about this because he loves Eddie Van Halen too. Someday, people are going to say to you, if I'm not even kidding, people are going to talk to you, and it will be like me talking to somebody who's seen Jimi Hendrix. They're going to be like, wow, dude, you saw Eddie Van Halen play.
Totally.
And we're lucky. No, we're lucky. We saw one of the greatest guitar players to ever walk the planet. We got to see him do his thing. So we are lucky.
No question, man. I owe that to you, dude, because you led the charge on that. And I was like, yes, sure. Tell me where to be and I'll be there.
Oh, I already told Tony, look, there's in some cases, I'm like, Tony, you got no fucking say in this, dude. This is a show you're going to. I'm just letting you know. Don't make any plans on April 3rd because we're going to the show. Like, I did that to him last week. I said, Tony, because Tony texted me, he's like, Paulie, Stephen Piercy and Warren D. Cromartie. Those are the boys from Rat and Roll, y'all.
Yeah, like, you said D. Cromartie, by the way, D. Martini, but you said D. Cromartie. That's awesome. That's the former baseball player, dude.
Shout out Montreal Expos ball. Yeah. Montreal Expos ball. I'll go D. Cromartie if I have to. I don't know where. Well, again, it's the brain damage. I did it to myself. Don't try this at home. But D. Martini. So Tony goes, yeah, they just added more tour dates. And I said, well, listen, here's the situation. I don't care where the gig is in California. It could be in Indio. It could be in Folsom. It can be in Stockton. I just don't care. Tony, you're coming to the gig with me. Yes. And so anyway, that's going to happen again soon. I think we should probably go, Stacey. We've been rapping for like 10 minutes. Okay. Totally. Tony, much love. We'll see you tomorrow night on Night Flight, and happy particles to all of y'all.
Peace.